We have to be quite honest. We come into work some days, you think it's overwhelming when you turn the news on. It's overwhelming for us as well. Let's just take a look at some of the most recent headlines. A Wisconsin school resource officer last Tuesday shot and wounded a student who stabbed him during an altercation. There was a situation with the Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard we're dealing with as well. And in Pensacola, the situation there, and that just barely scratches the surface. So let's try to get behind what is going on as we check in with licensed professional counselor Lee Richardson, who joins us this morning to talk a little bit about why all the violence. And it just seems like it's just suddenly exploded. And Lee, thanks for being with us this morning. And what can you give us as far as a little insight into how to handle this?
Well, I think it is overwhelming, and it's overwhelming for everybody. And when we get overwhelmed, that affects our mental health. And two words to me is at the bottom of this, and it's mental health. We're all so sure of what our cholesterol is and our blood pressure, but we don't ever stop and think about where we are mentally. In Pearl Harbor, the gentleman was 22 years old. That's very young to make a mistake like that. Where was he mentally? Was he anxious? Was he depressed? What kind of trauma had he had in his life? Because we have all had all of that. Just I imagine you just having to get up and face this type of news and deliver it in a positive way. That can be traumatic.
It's a bit of a challenge because at some point you want to just stop and go, what in the world is going on with the world? And I do think that some folks think that we are overplaying the mental health issue, but I don't think that we necessarily are. I think we need to be aware of that. We had an interview with our local police chief a week or so ago talking about how they approach a situation now where they are more cognizant, and that's the first thing they start to think about. Is this person just wanting to be violent, or is this person having some issues they're not really in control of?
Well, and I think, in Pensacola, they talked about how they vet the people coming into the country, and they listed several factors that they vet for. Mental health was not one of them.
And it's how though do we go forward and deal with not only the situation of dealing with hearing in the news, but as far as the situations that are breaking out everywhere, how do we address this situation overall?
I think that we as individuals had to focus on our mental health, and I think that some people, I would say, lean to your spiritual side, turn to prayer. Other people, stay mindful, be aware, stay in the moment. Instead of we get caught up in it. I got confused because there were two school incidents in Wisconsin. There were two naval incidents. At first, I got confused. Stay present and keep your facts straight. Don't, because you can get on the internet and you can read all kinds of stuff that really just stresses you out more.
I have some friends, or a friend in particular, and when stories like this break, this person has sometimes a hard time dealing with it because they suddenly think, okay, what happens if I go to school now and this might happen? In other words, it becomes very real in their lives as a real possibility. I'm not saying that it's not, but the odds of it happening are a lot lower than they are, but they become overwhelmed and they begin to shut down. How do you touch and reach somebody like that to reassure them this is not necessarily a guarantee that you're going to walk out tomorrow and somebody's going to gun you down?
I think you have to help them process what's going on and ask them how they feel about it and listen and encourage them. If they really feel like they need some more help, encourage them to see a counselor. Because as a friend, you can certainly help somebody process what's going on in your head, but you cannot be their counselor.
Stigma, still a big stigma attached to seeking out counseling. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I wrote a book, Turn Your Brain On to Get Your Game On, to address all the taboo and, the negative associated with mental health. It's part of our everyday life, and we need to accept that and encourage other people and let them know it is okay if you're a little bit afraid to go to school. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down.
How do you know when the difference between I need a professional counselor as far as maybe psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever it might be, or I just need to speak with a minister, I just need to speak with a friend. How do you know what level where you are in falling into that?
Well, I think, that you have to listen to the person, and if it's affecting their daily life, if it's interfering with their sleep, if it is stopping them from getting up and doing what they need to do that day, then it's more than just a bother. It's affecting their daily life. And when it does that, I think that's the line that you cross, and you need some help, some professional help.
And it's up to us. We don't watch after ourselves as well as we should. So hey, folks, look at the people around you. Look at your friends, look at your neighbors, look at your coworkers. And if they're having a struggle, at least be enough of a friend to bring it up. I mean, it may be an uncomfortable discussion, but what's the worst thing that can possibly happen? They get help. So we have to watch out for each other, I think.
And I can't think of anything that would make me feel better. If somebody could tell I was having a down day, came up and said, "Gee, so you're having a down day today, Lee. I hope it gets better." That right there made me feel better.
Well, Lee, thanks for being with us this morning. Our guest this morning, licensed professional counselor Lee Richardson, author as well. How do we get the book, and how do we find out more about what you're up to these days?
You can get the book on my website, the Brain Performance Center, or it should be on Amazon now as well. And I'm all over Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And I'm always happy to talk with somebody. I do free consultations, 817-500-4863. And
of course, folks, social media can be a bad thing, but it can be a good thing as well. So follow Lee and stay on the good side of social media, right? Let's keep it positive.
Thank you so much. That's good advice.
Lee, thanks for being with us this morning. I hope you have a great season.
Thank you.
All right.